Practice tips with underground virtuosos. This week's practice tip for you is to go and listen to recordings of the piece you are practicing. So if you're practicing a solo piece, a private lesson piece, a orchestra piece, or even a chamber music piece, and you're practicing those, go and listen to the recordings. Now let's talk about why you should. For the first reason, if this piece is new to you and this is the first time you're playing it, often learning based off of what you hear is going to speed up and help you learn it quicker. So if you go and listen to recordings and several recordings, if you hear like 3 to 5 different recordings, that means you already heard it 3 to 5 times, and that's going to just leave an imprint in your mind when you actually go practice the piece, and you're just going to feel a little bit quicker than if you're just looking at it for the first time and you have no idea how it sounds. Okay, another reason to go listen to a recording, interpretation. Yeah, now I'm not asking you to go listen to the piece and then end up trying to play like somebody else. Okay, but sometimes we do get stuck on interpretation. We get stuck on ideas, and we're thinking, how do we want to sound? And you're not sure. Well, this is when you can go and listen to a recording or two or more, and what you'll do is you'll hear different people play it or different groups play it, and if you like it, great. If you don't like it, that's okay. You don't have to love and like every single interpretation that people play. Just be open-minded with how people present their piece. But in the end, ultimately, you will start to feel like, oh, I kind of like this more than that. Oh, I kind of don't like that. Oh, I like this idea here. And you'll start to absorb a little bit of different playing from different people. And then you'll start to get a sense of maybe you want your piece to sound like this. Now, not something specific, not like exactly like one person, but maybe you'll have your own idea based off of hearing different recordings and just start to get a sense of this bigger picture for you. Okay, so that's definitely another reason to go and listen to recordings, is for an interpretation that you are developing for yourself. Now, another reason, and we're going to dive into now the different, genres. So like orchestra. Orchestra is a big thing, especially if you are trying to audition for orchestra. Yeah, whether it is youth orchestra or professional symphony, it is very important to know how your part fits in with somebody else's part. Okay, or with the orchestra, with everybody else's. Yeah, so it's bad in a sense if you walk into your audition and then you play your piece like you play your concerto, right? Then it's going to tell the musicians that are listening to you that, they don't really know how their part fits with others, in this symphony, in this piece. And that often kind of sets you a little bit lower than others. So it's very important to know how your part fits in with others, and you can do that by listening to various recordings of the orchestra piece that you're working on. Even if you're not auditioning, I still strongly suggest you to do that, because you might be surprised. I know a lot of students play in the orchestra and they only know their part, and when you actually hear someone else's part for the first time, you're like, whoa, like that actually exists? I never heard that before. And that's because we're so focused on what's in front of us and not the whole thing. Yeah, so you can do this by listening to other people's playing in orchestra. Let's talk about chamber music. Yeah, chamber music is like a smaller version of an orchestra, if you want to think of that. So you could have a quartet, 4 parts. You could have trio, 3 parts, quintet. There are many different obvious small ensembles, but learning other people's part kind of works the same as in orchestra. You will get a better understanding of how your part fits in with the whole ensemble, and not just like I play mine and you play yours and we hope for the best if we play together. Chamber music is a lot more fun when you know how your part interacts with others. And last but not least, your solo music. A lot of you probably practice solo music that has an accompaniment part, a piano part, right? And this is something often overlooked. You don't think about what the pianos have. Yeah, and it might make your music actually make more sense, or make it sound more interesting, or just give you a better perspective of how your part fits with theirs. So if you're practicing something that does have a piano part, which is like concertos, sonatas, probably a lot of music in Suzuki books, you can go and listen to them on YouTube, on Spotify, and just see, oh, how does my part sound if there is another instrument like piano playing with it? And very often you might be a little bit surprised, like, oh, that sounds like this, interesting. Yeah, and then maybe certain parts in your music that doesn't make much sense before, all of a sudden starts to make more sense. Sometimes we have these not so fun parts, more like we're the accompaniment and maybe the piano now has the melody. And you never knew why your music sounded like that, but then once you hear the actual recording of it all together, it starts to make more sense. And so that's it for this video. So go practice and go listen to the recordings of the piece you're working on. Okay, thank you for watching. Have a good one.